Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Globe Secrets podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. You know that saying that's going around on TikTok, especially the God, I love being a woman. I feel that, but I feel that with podcasting. I love being a podcaster. I'm so excited to be recording like always. I don't know. And you know what? You guys have been showing me so much love on the podcast channel. We hit 1,000 subscribers, which we're definitely like past that now, which is always great. Just another milestone, just working our way back up to another 100K plaque. But you guys have been really enjoying the long form videos. Like, I'm actually surprised with how many views that I'm having. I only have 2 episodes. It's going to be the 3rd episode, but I don't know. Like, you guys are liking it, and I love that because that's the goal. And eventually, I'm going to be moving soon, and the goal is to have a second room that's just for content creation, mainly for the podcast. So I'm glad that you're liking the visuals if you are watching. And if you're not, if you're just listening to the audio, if you're an audio girly and you liked it, you can stay there. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I feel like somebody had commented on one of my episodes just being like, I like the audio version better, but it felt as if they thought that I wasn't going to be doing audio. So just know this is always going to be available on Apple and Spotify if you don't want to see me, or maybe you're just driving or something and you don't want to waste your data. All right, guys. So another week. We are in February now. Thank the Lord. The way that I'm done with winter, and listen, I know that we should not just be romanticizing a different season of life, like be in the present, enjoy the present, and I get it. And we try and do that, but I am honestly over it. I really am. Now, there's going to be a lot of cool things I'm going to be doing in February, so I'm not going to talk too much shit, but honestly, it's not even that I'm over the winter, like the weather. I mean, obviously would love more sun. The sun has been coming out a lot more in Toronto, Canada, but honestly, I just want my nights back. I want it to be 5:30 and it still be really bright out so I can continue to work. I don't know why lately, because I've been on my grind, guys. I'm writing a book. We're going to get into that. So much brand work, so much content. I'm really in it right now. And I'm working past 5 o'clock. Like, I work for myself, so I'm always kind of working, and I'm getting better with stopping work at a certain time, but there's those days that I do have to work like later into the night, which I don't really mind too much. But what I do mind is when the sun goes down, I feel like my day is done, but I still have work to do, and I just feel like my days are just slipping by me. Like, I work all day, and then 5:30, 6 o'clock, if I'm still working, I feel like it's nighttime. Like, now you have to go to sleep, and you're working right up until you go to sleep. And it has to really, I mean, obviously it has to do with the fact that I'm working, but it also has to do with the fact that the sun's not out anymore. And it's giving depression in a way. And I don't like it. And I want it to be brighter. And I was actually watching, my new thing right now is to be watching summer vloggers to just get me in the mood to like be excited about summer. And Kenzie Elizabeth, I was watching one of her vlogs in the summertime, and it was like 7:30 and the sun was still out, and I was like, I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait until the day. But it's coming. We're almost here. You already know February's gonna go quickly. Do you guys have Valentine's Day plans? Let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or just DM me. Let me know what you're doing. I am single, so I won't be doing anything with a man, but I think I'm going to do something with myself. I think I'm going to do a little solo date. So we're going to get into that though. So we're going to talk about a few things before we get into the main part of the episode, but I do want to let you guys know we're going to be talking about a lot. Jealousy, self-confidence, manifesting, what else? Believing in yourself, detachment, lots of good things here, but we got to do some updates first. Okay. For one, I did, and this will come out after the video, and the video is I think it's titled something along the lines of how to have a real relationship with yourself. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it, please, because you need to learn how to have a healthy relationship with yourself. I feel like on my channel right now, it is giving February, and a lot of the content that I'm going to be coming out with is revolved around that. I'm going to be doing a video as well on like how not to lose yourself in a relationship as well, because I know you girlies, some of you girlies got a ring, okay? So we need to talk about that. So lots of content coming out on the channel about self-love, connection with yourself, relationships, all that good stuff. But on that video I did my first brand deal on YouTube, which I waited a long time to do a brand deal on YouTube. I get brands reaching out to me all the time. I do brand work mainly, well, not mainly, but a lot of my brand work has also come from doing UGC content, user generated content, UGC, yeah, where they use me and my UGC content is mainly like, a lot of people do that if they don't have big followings. You're basically almost as if you're like a model or an actor for a brand, and you create content for them and they use it on their platforms. But a lot of brands will reach out to me to do UGC because I have an influence and I've built my audience and things like that. So they'll still kind of use me as if I am that influencer, even if I'm not posting on my platforms, whatever. I do some of that sometimes, but then I also just like work with brands on my social media. But I did my first brand deal with a company, Plus One, and I really love the brand deal that we did, like the collaboration that we did, really, because I think it's so important for us as women to not feel weird or wrong, to have a self-pleasure practice and use those devices. The reason why I'm saying devices is because YouTube loves to flag everything. It's so annoying. So anyways, and actually I'm doing another brand deal as well, which you will see. I'm not going to say it yet, but because I'm doing it's like a 2-part thing. But yeah, good deals this month. Very good deals this month. But with that said, definitely be prepared to see more brand deals, but aligned brand deals. I am somebody, and I've told my agency this, I mean, it's taken me this long to even do one. I don't want to work with brands that I don't think that have good messaging, that I think are valuable for you guys, brands that I don't and wouldn't love to use on myself, or like use things like that. I know every influencer says that, but it's like I've seen I've seen the negative impacts that has on the creator and their audience and the community that they have worked so hard to build come crushing down just by you selling out. And I just feel like once you get to a certain level with your career and what it is that you truly want to be talking about, everything falls into place anyways. The brands that you want to work with are going to want to work with you. The money is going to come. It's like, I understand the importance of not being in scarcity when it comes to money and anything in life, really. And if I'm not in scarcity, then why would I ever be selling out? Like, I don't need to sell out. I can just wait for a brand that I feel I'm aligned with and do that brand deal and make money so that I can continue to make content or whatever it is in your life. So I've seen influencers do that, and I get why. I see the numbers behind this. It's insane. Some of these creators are making so much money off of these brand deals. So I can see why, like, you know, that Michaela girl that did the false lash thing, mascara thing. I'm not saying that's right. It's not, because you just ruined your relationship with your audience, and your relationship with your audience is everything more than money. And it's like, what type of scarcity mindset were you in that you needed to do that? Because in my mind, I think if you have a very loyal audience and they love you and they're supporting you and you have this connection and people trust you for recommendations or whatever you're trying to do, right? Even if your audience is not buying something for you, like whatever you have created this container. And for you to break that, obviously you were in some sort of scarcity mindset to begin with, because if you weren't, you would realize that your audience is way more important. Your community is so much more important. And the more that you grow and the more that you become successful, the money's going to come. Like, so many ways, even outside of brand deals. You see very successful influencers or authors or whatever they are. I'm just saying influencers because I'm just talking about this space. They when they're in alignment and they have the community that they have and they're talking about the things that they really want to talk about, and they naturally just go in the direction of their own creativity, their own whatever that they're good at, money and opportunities come in so many different ways. The artists, the people who come out with kitchen lines like appliances or merch or journals or anything, right? Something that is very true and authentic to them. And when it's true and authentic to them and they have that audience, like they become really successful doing that thing. And they're also creating a very beautiful, aligned, magnetic product that people would use or people would buy or whatever it is. So that's how I think about things, is like, there's no need for me to sell out. And I don't know. I get it though. I get the scarcity mindset because I used to be in it too. And I feel like years ago when I was struggling with money and when I was in so much scarcity, I'm sure if I was an influencer at that point, like, yeah, I might have taken, I wouldn't have gone to the lengths that that girl went to. Definitely not, because that's just, oh my gosh, that's really embarrassing, to be honest. But I mean, I'm sure I would have done some deals where, I don't really love the product, but I'll just like promote it anyways type thing. I get the scarcity mindset, and there's always going to be that level of what, I don't know. Anyways, if you guys are interested more in like brand deal talk and stuff, let me know, because obviously I'm in that world and I have influencer friends, and it's a big part of being an influencer. And I feel like people sometimes think it's bad and wrong and weird. I don't think so at all, because it's like I need to monetize my life in order to continue to put out free content. It's actually interesting because I sell journal guides. They're like $8. I have 2 of them. If you want to check them out, you can. They're digital, you can print them, and I have them linked it'll be linked everywhere in the show notes, all that kind of stuff, description. But this one person was saying, oh, okay, so I have the journal guides, but I also have email coaching, and I believe the price is $40 right now, and you can send me an issue that you're having, and I will email you, and we'll work through the thing that you're going through, just as advice, not as a psychologist, not as a therapist. I tell you guys when you guys email me, and also it's on there. But I do that a lot, and I do that because I do not have the time to unpack somebody's life story. And it's not in a mean, malicious way. I just actually don't have the time, right? So in order for me to make the time, I do need to get paid for that time. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I really don't. It's like you expect your therapist to give free therapy to everyone. Then she would never have time for herself, and she would never even get to everyone, because everyone would be using up all of her time. Like it's just people who think like that. I'm just like, come on, you live in this day and age. Like, people need to get paid for their work. And on top of that, I think the comment as well was saying something like, like basically like, why couldn't you just answer my question here, like for free? Because that's what they want. And my thing is, this is why I did this email coaching anyways. I don't even have time to do one-on-ones. Like, honestly, I don't. But the reason why I even just made this option, because there are people who send me long paragraph DMs, voice notes, screenshots of the situation that they're going through. Some of them very respectfully will say, hey, I'm going through this thing. I don't even know if you're going to answer. And if you don't, that's okay. I understand. And then they'll like tell me their whole story. But then there's also people who say, they just start with whatever they're going through. They don't even ask. They don't even say hi. They don't even whatever. And they just go. And you should see my DMs. It's insane. And it's not even that like I'm not saying these people are insane, but it's just I actually obviously can't. So anyways, when I see those DMs, I can't respond back and say, you just need to like dump him, or this is, because they're looking for a specific answer. And what they don't realize is the whole 18 paragraph note that they sent me literally needs years of therapy to work through. Years of unpacking. And I'm not even a therapist, for one. So usually when I see that, I'm like, oh my gosh, first of all, like, I'm not the person. But second of all, even when people just like need certain advice and I think that I could give it to them, I would need time to do that. I would need you to send me an email write out exactly what it is that you are trying to look for. And I would go through it and write out all the key points and explain certain things that I think that would be helpful for you. And that takes a lot of time. I am not somebody who likes to give basic generic advice. When I see things very meta. And that is why I got out of health and fitness as well, is because I realized that the issues that people were having in health and fitness didn't have to do with the fact that they didn't know what to do in the gym or what to eat. It was a mental thing. And that takes a lot of unpacking. And I just, whatever. So when I see somebody send me a message like that, I see years of attachment styles, years of trauma, years of not even understanding who that they are, not enough self-awareness at all, like so many things that they could be doing to unpack this one thing that's going to unlock one thing that's going to change their life. Like it goes on for days. So people will be like, why can't you just answer for free? Or like, why are you charging your money? Blah, blah, blah. Because it's going to take a long time to unpack. And again, coming back to the fact that I've been putting out free content for a year and a bit on TikTok, my Instagram, and obviously on YouTube and my podcast. And this will continue to be free. It doesn't cost you anything to consume this. And I think I do a pretty good job at giving you guys a lot of advice and good quality content. So heaven forbid I get paid for my work type thing. And I think coming back to brand deals do help influencers make a living. The way that brands market now is through influencers, but in general, it's just social media. It's just online. Everyone's online. So it's natural and normal to want to have an ad placed before a podcast or through a YouTube channel or whatever it is. It's just a normal thing. And it's like, I'm going to be paid for that because I'm the one that's actually keeping people on the app. It's not the ad. So like, do I not get paid for that? I don't know. I just went on a huge rant. And honestly, it's a very minority of people who think like that. Like, I know a lot of you guys who are listening are probably like, yeah, no, like that makes sense, whatever. But I don't know. I just figured I would say that. And again, moving forward, yeah, I'm going to be doing brand deals because first of all, it will help me get paid as a creator. But second of all, I think it's so cool and fun to be able to work with these brands that I used to look up to. Like, what? Or, spread a good message to my audience or audiences, like the one that I did with Plus One. Like, to share a message being like, it's not weird and wrong for you to have a self-pleasure practice and buy yourself something to use. Like, I don't know. I think that's really cool. So anyways, that's rant over. Okay, next thing. I need to get my finances together. And I don't mean like I'm being bad with my finances, but I'm making more money than I ever have. And I need a freaking accountant and I need to figure it out. And I'm going to meet with my somatic therapist. Like, we're actually like friends, by the way, guys. And I feel like she just is an angel to my life. And she's going to help me do some things with that because I don't know what I'm doing. What else? Oh, I wrote on here I've been asking for help instead of trying to do it myself and feeling weird around that. I've always felt like that, doing everything myself. And then if I ever have to ask somebody to help me out with something, it's just very weird and I don't like it. But I've been really trying to do that more, hence me going to get help from my somatic therapist or just friends. Like, I reach out to my friend Tess a lot about influencer stuff, just like tech stuff a lot. And every single time I reach out and I ask for help, it actually helps. So I'm trying to do more of that because I realize like I just can't do everything. Also, I finally did get an editor. Thank you to anyone and all of you who emailed me regarding editing and stuff. I did find somebody. So we're getting there. Also, another thing I think I mentioned this in my cycle singing vlog, which will be coming out soon. I have not been drinking coffee first thing in the morning and eating before, and it's been amazing. And I've been going to the gym a lot, like I've been saying, and that's been amazing as well. And I just feel so much better about myself. I don't even mean my body. Literally just the mere fact that I'm waking up and I'm deciding to eat and go to the gym and then come home and write. Like, that's just, love that for me. I feel like I'm used to showing up so much with my work that it's just, I just don't get much out of it anymore because I'm like, I do the same thing. Like I'm there, I'm whatever, but my health, because I've been slacking, I'm like, yeah, girl, get it. Another thing, I'm gonna start a book list again. Okay, I have a book list at Amazon, on my Amazon shop. I have all of the books that I have on there. Actually, I have more, but I just, whatever. The ones that I think that are most important when people ask me, like, what books do you recommend? If you want to know what books I've been reading or read, go on there. Sorry, I'm getting comfy here, guys. Hopefully it looks okay. You know what? When I get this studio, it's going to be much better. I really actually do not like this couch whatsoever. And I spent a lot of money on it. It's from IKEA. It's really nice. I like to sit, I don't know, whatever. Who cares? Why do I go on so many rants? It's insane. Like, welcome to my mindset. Anyways, again, like, honestly, I need to slow down, truly. I have an Amazon book list, but I need more books. I don't need them. Actually, I don't need them at all. I actually don't need any books for the rest of my life, but I want them. And I have been saving a lot of books that I've been hearing other people talk about and stuff, and it's time. Like, when it's time to finally get the book. And I used to do this thing where I used to always buy a book like every week and I would never read it. And then I just had accumulation of books. So I really stopped myself. I was like, okay, if you want to buy this book, then just put it in a cart. You don't need to buy it right now. You don't need to do this impulse buy. I've definitely been way better in my life with impulse buys. I don't do that the way that I used to. But now I'm at a point where I got the list and I've been thinking about the books that I put in the cart. And that's when you know, so, and I'm excited. I want to learn some new things. So I feel like I'm going to be entering my reading era. I feel like reading books is definitely in. And if you want to know what else is in, then definitely go listen to last week's episode on the podcast where we're talking about all the ins and outs of 2023. What else? One more thing. My book is going well. I have a lot of resistance, like I've been saying, even in the last episode, with writing this book, for the mere fact of I don't know how to properly convey a message through writing. I was going to say I don't know how to write a book, or I don't know how to write, but that's not necessarily true. You know what? Let me take that back. I struggle with I struggle with being able to convey a message to a point where it just like hits home exactly where it needs to. And I'm sure a lot of people get like that when they're writing. Like, writing is this, it's a lot. So anyways, and I have a lot of thoughts, and it's not that hard to stay organized, but as I keep writing, how I write is I have this like outline, and then I'm writing chapters and writing out paragraphs, but I kind of do a very crappy, choppy job at it. And then I come back and like want to edit it because I'm trying to get it all out. But what I'm getting out, it makes sense in my head. But if you were to read it, it's very, very choppy, and like you need to expand on all of these. You need to use the proper words and whatever. So that kind of makes me a little bit chaotic in my mind, because when I'll write, I'll just like word dump basically. But then I have to like go back and try and figure out how to make this look more presentable even for my editor. So yeah, it's just resistance with that. But it's interesting. I always feel it, and I always tell myself, just do it. Just get up and do it. You can do it. Not like that, but like, get your ass up and work, but the nice version of that. And when I start writing, I'm like, yes, you know what? This is exactly the feeling that you knew that you were going to feel after a few minutes of resistance. And it happens every single time. And then I write and it's good. Today I wrote for like 2 hours, and it's just everything within this book is what I want to be talking about. I'm going through the story of my awakening of what it really means to glow up, truly. And then I'm going to guide you guys through how to go through your own glow up as well. And I think it's revolutionary because it's what so many of you guys are constantly struggling with, and so many women and even men struggle with. And I think it's truly just like this whole journey back to yourself, essentially. And I think a lot of people think that the glow up is this external state of being, and we all go to try and glow up into the best version of ourselves because we don't like ourselves and we struggle with our self-worth, and we change that through dieting and habits and behaviors that just and then we wonder, but we still wonder why they don't work, why we fail, why it's not really getting us where we want to get. And it's because we're actually way more disconnected to ourselves than we thought. And the reason why we do all of these self-sabotaging behaviors, or these behaviors that we thought that were good for us but are not, is because we're not really seeing the full picture. We're not really seeing ourselves fully in what we're trying to even get beyond this external glow up. And so, yeah, that's what the book is kind of about in a nutshell. It'll probably change a million times, but we're getting there. Okay, let's get into some of the questions. So I didn't know really, I was like, should I do some polls this week on Instagram, ask you guys what specific topics you guys want to talk about? But on my recent video of, the validation video that I put out, I had commented on my comment section and I asked you guys what you guys were struggling with, and you guys gave me you guys told me what you guys are struggling with, and I felt that the ones that I saw on there, I was able to kind of combine them in a way that would work well for a podcast episode. So that's what I did, and we're going to get into it. And I think, like I always say, if somebody asks a question, most likely you can apply it to your life in some way, because I think that we're collectively all just connected anyway. So you'll get something out of this. Don't worry. You will get something out of this. Okay, so the first question: how to stop being jealous and start being content with what you have and where you're at in life. Okay, so I think we've all felt like this, jealous of somebody else for the success that they have, or the beauty that they have, or the life that we actually want. And I wrote here, jealousy is an indicator that you're not happy with your own life. So start focusing on what would make you happy with your life, because the truth is, jealousy is not necessarily always a bad thing. It's actually an indicator that your life is probably just not going the way that you want. And a lot of us think, when we realize that we are feeling jealous, we just feel shame and, oh my gosh, I shouldn't feel this, and we push it away. Or we feel jealous and we do mean things, or we, hate on people, whatever. But if you can take everything as a learning lesson, even the experience of feeling jealousy, you'll realize that, okay, well, the reason why I feel very jealous of that girl and how she looks is because I'm not happy with how I look, because I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not eating properly. I'm whatever. You always feel more jealous and crappy about yourself when you see someone else doing the thing that you know you should be doing or want to be doing. So just know that that's just like a normal part of life, and jealousy is just, it's a mirror to you, to what you either aren't or you really want to be. And, maybe you don't necessarily want to be exactly like that person, but again, there's a reason why you're jealous. It's not just for any reason at all. And then another thing, because she was asking about being content, I think what's helped me with being content with my life is staying in my own lane and focusing on my own life. When you are really obsessed and watching and consuming people online, or even in real life, you're so invested in someone else's life, you tend to not be content with your own, because you're constantly bombarded with people who are doing amazing things in life. Beautiful girls, their bodies are insane, their success is insane, influencers, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, you'll find somebody who's doing it already and who's successful doing it. And so no matter where you're at in your life, you need to kind of hone in and focus on and stay in your own lane, because honestly, the only competition is yourself in this life. It truly is. You're losing the game if you're constantly trying to be in competition with others. Yes, is competition like a normal thing? And yes, it kind of happens naturally in every industry, no matter what you're doing. Yes, but it doesn't really need to be like that. Why are you focusing so much on everyone else's life? What you should really be focusing on is yourself. And I can guarantee you that will fix a lot of your jealousy issues that you have in the first place. Because when I focus on my own self and my own league, I guess, I'm just focused on becoming the best version of me. So even when it comes to my beauty, I'm not trying to be like that other girl that looks nothing like me, or maybe she does look like me, but I'm not trying to look as beautiful as her. I'm trying to look as beautiful as I can get. Okay. I'm trying to take care of my hair the best way that I can for my hair so that it can grow the way that it's naturally supposed to. But even if I do have a hair piece or whatever, no matter what I'm doing with my beauty or my body, I'm really just trying to become a better version of me, not a better version of somebody else. And what's helped me is to keep my eyes and my focus on my own things. So enhancing my own natural beauty instead of trying to morph myself to look like a girl who looks nothing like me. And obviously there's no shame in if you want to look like somebody else. Like we all get inspo from people, and when I wear my hairpiece, that's not my natural hair. So I mean, it really depends on what we're talking about here, but I just think that in general, no matter how successful you are, you kind of have to stay in your own lane. And even when it comes to me being a content creator, the things that I talk about, I don't consume a lot of content, especially people's content that where they're speaking on the same subjects as me. I have influencer friends who are in the same industry and actually do talk a lot about the same things I do. And I don't watch them because I know that what that's going to do to me is, either self-doubt or, oh, look, they're doing this and now I need to do it. I don't need to do that. All I need to do is focus on what I'm doing, becoming the best version of me. And that's what you should be doing as well. And you'll stop feeling so jealous of everyone else because you'll be content knowing like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm up-leveling my beauty. I'm up-leveling my health. I'm up-leveling my career as much as I need to for myself, for my own life. And you start to, like I said, you start to not care so much about what other people are doing, and you can be in rooms with people and not feel so jealous because you have confidence within yourself, because you're on your own path and you're doing what you need to do instead of thinking that you need to do everything that everyone else is doing. Because the truth is, you just can't. You can't. Just stay in your lane and do what you need to do. So I don't know, that's helped me a lot. But yeah, I think like the biggest thing is if you are feeling a lot of jealousy or like envy or whatever, it's honestly just a good indicator that you're probably not where you want to be. And then it's like, okay, let's not put all of our attention and focus on somebody else and become more jealous and, oh, she has this and that. How about you focus on what you're not focusing on? How about that? Stop focusing on what that girl, how she looks or what she's doing with her life. Who cares? That's not your life. Focus on yourself and watch how things change for you. Okay, next thing, question or whatever. I'm struggling to put myself out there online and in real life. Any tips on how to stop isolating myself and holding myself back, especially since you put yourself online? So I have a few tips here. For one, I have a belief that I deserve what it is that I want in my life. And I've been working on that. I didn't always used to think that. And that's still one of my like childhood wounds of feeling like everyone else can have everything, but not me. That is one of my biggest wounds in life. And that trickles into everything. It trickles into relationships. It trickles into money, opportunities, career, going exactly for what I want in my life. My life circumstance has shown me that it seems as if everyone else can get what they want but me. And that's not actually true. It just was what my life circumstance was. It wasn't that I didn't deserve it though. It's just that's how it was. And so I've been having to reprogram that and realize like I actually do deserve to get what I want, exactly what I want. And the more I do that, the more that allows me to put myself out there on camera and go for what it is that I want. Like we have certain desires in our life and we are meant to live out those desires. That's what I personally believe. And so when I'm wanting something in my life and I'm holding back for some reason, I always remind myself it's probably has to do with this old limiting belief or programming that has, gotten ingrained in me from childhood, but it doesn't have to be true. And that helps me go for exactly what I want, because it's like, I feel like majority of us, we know what we want to do, but we just won't do it. And a lot of that has to do with the level of feeling like you deserve that thing. But another component is, and especially in this case, is we struggle with being seen as people. We struggle with being seen because maybe in childhood it was scary to be seen. It was unsafe to be seen. And the truth also is within that goes deeper. And what I've actually been working with my somatic therapist on a lot is we actually do want to be seen as people. But when people come really close, we're like, no, can't do it. I don't want to be seen. But we really do. We're longing to be seen. We're longing to do the thing that we really want to do, which usually is in the form of somebody seeing us in some moment in time, especially with this question of how do I put myself out there? There's a reason why you want to put yourself out there in the first place. You want to be seen, you want connection, but you're so terrified of having that. And that usually has to do with some sort of imprinting that has happened in childhood where it was too scary to be seen. Maybe you look different than other people, so you kind of kept yourself small the whole time so that you wouldn't get made fun of or been reminded of how different you look and all the shame and guilt and, fear that comes with feeling like you're different than people in general. So it's like, I don't want to be seen. But then naturally it's like, no way, I actually do want to be seen because you're a human being and everyone wants to be seen. So I think when it comes to holding yourself back because you're feeling afraid of people seeing you and acknowledging you and seeing what you have to say or whatever it is that you're trying to do, remind yourself that this not feeling seen thing is really just a learned behavior. And it's an old story and you're actually allowed to be seen and people want to see you. And another thing that I remind myself of when it comes to specifically content creation, influencing, whatever, use that interchangeably. I know that the things that I'm going through, other people are going through the same thing. As much as I want to believe that I'm so special, I'm not. And I know that because I've watched other people speak on topics that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this exact same way. And knowing that, it makes me feel less afraid to go for what I really want, which is speaking on topics that I really love to speak on and being vulnerable or sharing or helping or giving advice or whatever I'm doing, because I know people need it and I know people can relate because I'm not the only person experiencing the human condition. We all are. And I think the more that we can put ourselves out there and say, hey, I'm experiencing this emotion. Hey, I'm struggling with feeling seen, only then will other people be like, oh my gosh, me too. And then people will see you and then you'll see them. And then it's this whole expansion. And is that not what we're here to do? We're not here to stay small. We are not here to not be seen. You're not here to be made fun of on the bus in high school and curl up into a ball and never want to be seen again. You didn't come here to do that. And I think that there's a reason why we've all chosen to be in these bodies, going through this certain experience, etc. And that's usually to do with expansion. So when you are that child that was sitting on the bus, scared, don't want to be seen because people are making fun of you because you look different, whatever, this is all just a part of the universe's or God, whatever you want to believe in. It's really just a part of your path of what you need to expand from and grow from. It's just a part of your story. And, looking at all the wounds, the not being seen, the afraid to be seen, those are just things that the universe wants you to work towards and work on and expand from. And I don't know, I just don't believe that you're just here to just not be seen or not go for what you want in your life. It just doesn't make sense to me. And what's helped me obviously is realize when I actually do break through these barriers and these wounds is wow, the level of impact that I have when I do that is unimaginable. Being a child who did sit on that bus and feel so indifferent and so not wanting to feel seen, I just wanted to escape and listen to music and just shut everything out. Being somebody who actually worked through that and now being somebody who sits on a camera and speaks like this and talks about whatever she really wants to talk about, the way that I've impacted so many other people's lives in that way, which then expand more people and more people and more people, I think that is the meaning of life. My meaning that I make out of life, but I also see that in other people's past as well. It doesn't mean that you're going to be that person who goes on camera and speaks and then you're going to make somebody else spot, whatever. Everyone has their place in this world and you play a role whether you even see it or not. But that's how I look at myself, is I am worthy and I am this contributor to the expansion of the universe, the world, whatever, in some way, shape, or form. Even when I was serving not back in the day, oh my gosh, not me thinking of freaking living in 2030 right now, literally a few months ago, okay? I quit my job serving in, I think, end of November. But even then I realized, there was that period of time where I was serving, there was a reason for that. And I impacted a lot of people's lives, even just doing that. And part of me, when I realized I was growing out of that job, I realized, there's only so much expansion I can do. And that's a good indicator of when you need to level up and you need to move on, right? Because it's not to say that the universe wants you to stay in that job. Like, the universe didn't want me just to stay being a server for the rest of my life, because then I wouldn't, there comes a point where you stop expanding. You touched lives, you connected with people, you served, you literally helped contribute to society in a way. And you might not see that even as a young person, right? There was times where I was like, oh, this is such a stupid job. Like, this means nothing. I don't want it, whatever, because that was just my ego coming into it. But really and truly, there was a reason, and I played a very big role in society doing that small thing. Somebody who works at McDonald's, you are so valuable, even if you don't see that. But then it gets to a point where when you realize that you're very stuck and you want to do something else, that's the universe saying, expand, go and expand. It's not to say that this thing is not worthy, this job is not worthy of your time or whatever. It's just you are ready to expand. And that's what I did when it came to social media. I was building this whole platform, and then I got to a point where it was like there was so many signs, so many things happening in my life where it was like, you got to go. You need to go, because what you have to say is much bigger than what this job will ever let you be able to say. So that was a tangent. One more thing is to remind yourself that not everyone is going to like you. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, putting yourself out there in real life, on social media, whatever, okay, you got to get over the fact of, like, first of all, people are they're just not going to like you, okay? There's going to be people who don't. And the people who resonate with whatever you're trying to say or do on social media or in real life or whatever, even if it has nothing to do with what I'm doing, you're going to find the right people that do want to listen to what you have to say. Like, you have to remind yourself that there are 7-8 billion people on this planet Earth, and not all of them are on social media, and not all of them will you meet in real life, but there are so many people, and you need to take yourself out of this small little box that you have, this small little limiting belief box that you're in right now, and step up into your higher self and look at the world right now and see how many people are on this planet Earth experiencing the same thing you are. We are all experiencing the same thing, not at the same time, but we all experience certain levels of emotions, different life circumstances. We are very much so more connected than you ever think. And I always keep that in mind. And you need to keep that in mind when you're going out in life and trying to put yourself out there and trying to connect with people and trying to do something, because you can guarantee there's somebody in that room that feels the same way that you do. And the truth is, we are so afraid to be seen that many people won't even show you that they're feeling the same way you do. But I think that if you can have some courage and confidence to be that person, watch how many people start to stand up in a room and say, I feel the same way. It's the same way that I'm doing this on social media. When I start speaking, you guys start speaking. You guys start commenting and being like, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. And whatever, I see you guys comment on other people's comments and this, that, and the third. And now you're sharing, and now you're, the conversation is opening. So be that person. And it's scary. It's scary to be that person, to be seen. But just what I remind myself is this: the people who are listening to me, they resonate with what I'm saying, and they feel the same way. They do. Because I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one living on this planet Earth. We all experience like the same thing. And the people who do not like me and who think that my message is whatever, they're not for me. They're never going to be for me. And I don't want to change their mind. I don't care for them to see me. I don't need them to see me, because I have so many other people who see me as well. And also, we're not always going to be on the same journey anyway. So for me to expect that everyone's going to accept me and see me and love me it's kind of skewed, right? But we don't learn that properly when we get raised in childhood, because we have weird relationships with everything, unfortunately. So that was a lot. I hope that helped in some form or another. I mean, obviously the tips of putting yourself out there, like wear your best outfit and just fake it till you make it. I can tell you those things, but you know that I go deep with that. So that's that. All right. Next question is, okay, well, somebody just said, talk about the power of believing in yourself. And then someone else said, talk about how you manifested 100,000 100K or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And so I'll just kind of tie those two in together. So yeah, I know that the reason why I was able to, I say manifest because it is manifesting, but then I want to sometimes not say manifesting because I know what a lot of people think manifesting is just like thinking and then you get your manifestation, which there's another question following this, which I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to say manifesting because this is what it really is. But I think that, well, I know, like I said, the reason why I hit 100K subscribers so quickly was because I had belief in myself for doing the thing I really wanted to do. There was a few things, okay? So obviously the logistics behind hitting 100,000 subscribers is going to require action. I was consistent. I started posting consistently, only one video a week on YouTube. And I didn't do a lot of editing. I didn't do a lot of any crazy thing, whatever. Consistency, posted one video a week starting in April. And then I blew up in end of October or something. But the whole time I was being consistent, I had belief that eventually I was going to get there. And for the longest time, I didn't even have 100K in my mind. I was just like, I want to have my message on long form content. I just want to talk about things longer form than TikTok. Like it just is not, it's not hitting the way it needs to hit on TikTok in my flop era, but we're okay. We're fine. And that's all. Like I just knew that eventually if I would be consistent and put out the proper message that I would grow. And I took away the time urgency. Okay. When you're trying to manifest things, it's very clear whether you actually believe it's going to happen or not based off of if you have time urgency or not. Because if you believed the thing was coming to you, why do you care about the time? Why are you worried about when it's going to happen or when he's going to show up or when I'm going to get the money? Why don't you trust it's going to happen? And it's because you don't actually believe the thing. And it's important for you to believe that you're able to get a certain thing, but also believe in the message, right? So if we're talking about me being an actual influencer, like a YouTuber on the platform, I believe in what I'm speaking about. Like I believe in my message. I think that the things that I've gone through can really, really help other people. I know that to be true. And I'm going to go in that direction. And I also know that anyone can do anything that they want. That's just a belief that I hold on social media. I've seen people who have made their whole dream life come true based off of content that I actually don't think is very helpful or valuable, but they do. And that's why it works, because they believe in whatever they're doing or they like whatever they're doing. That's just how it happens. And another thing is I know the consequences of not believing in myself now. I didn't really know the consequences of not believing in myself for the longest time until I realized where limiting beliefs were getting me. Having self-doubt and questioning and not going for what you want directly and settling instead and getting your needs met through the back door instead of asking, demanding from the universe, saying, I'm not getting anything else but this. This is all I want, just not settling anymore, just all that kind of stuff. I know the consequences of that not happening because I used to do that. I used to have a lot of self-doubt. I used to have a lot of low self-worth. I used to settle in relationships with men in general. I stayed in jobs that I wasn't happy in and I was miserable and I wasn't getting what I wanted. And I would complain and I would wake up every day unhappy and sad about my life and constantly in these self-sabotaging, not really self-sabotage, but self-sabotaging behaviors and patterns because I wasn't going for exactly what I wanted because I didn't believe that I could get that thing. And I really needed to realize, why is it that I don't believe in myself to do these things? And that usually comes back to childhood. Once you start reprogramming that and healing your wounds and realizing, okay, that was just like programming that was just on me and actually not the truth of who I am and I actually deserve so much. Once you start healing that, you realize, okay, well, now that I do believe that I can actually get what I want, what is it that I want? Okay. And for me, I wanted to be a YouTuber. So I said, I'm doing it. And that's that. Like, I think sometimes you actually really have to realize the consequences of something before you actually change. Unfortunately, it's like hitting rock bottom. You don't have to, but a lot of us do before we realize like, oh my gosh, I just created a whole life based off of not going for what I want, and look where it's gotten me. No wonder I'm unhappy in my relationship. No wonder I keep settling. No wonder I wake up every single day unhappy. Okay, and then I had a question where I just like wrote that it leads into this. How to turn your desires into a physical realm. So basically, this comes back to manifestation, right? Because manifestation, a lot of people will think that it's just, okay, I think that I want 100K and then I'm going to write it down, or I'm going to do some weird technique that somebody told me to do on YouTube. And then I'm going to sit around and hope that it happens. And then everyone gets mad when it doesn't happen. The reason why I tie this in with the other question is believing in yourself and believing that you can get the manifestation, or you can get the thing that you want. I'm not even going to say manifestation. Believing that you can get the thing that you want is the foundation of whether you're going to take the aligned action, which will allow you to actually receive the manifestation. Okay? It's about aligned action. It's about action in general, but you don't take the proper action when you have weird beliefs and you don't know if you can do something. So let's bring it back. If I didn't believe, or if I didn't know, if I was uncertain, if I just didn't believe that I could grow on YouTube, I probably wouldn't continue to be consistent, because I wouldn't know, well, is this going to work? Is this going to pay off? I don't know. Like, should I be doing something else or whatever? Or if I self-doubted and I said, I don't really know if what I'm saying is correct, or, if my advice is good or helpful, whatever, if I was wishy-washy on what I was saying, then I wouldn't even record to upload, or I would take them down. I hear people say this all the time. I post on YouTube and then I always take it down because I second guess myself, You're not taking the proper action, because the action that I took was I believed in my message, and I knew eventually I would hit whatever I wanted to hit on social media. So all I needed to do was be consistent, and I was able to be consistent because I believed in my message and I knew that I was coming eventually. And if you know that, then obviously you're going to continue to take the right action. So it really does, when it comes to manifesting, you have to address your beliefs. We know the action that we need to take, but if you're not taking consistent action with posting on YouTube, let's say, then you need to check your beliefs, because there's obviously something that you don't believe can be true. Maybe you don't believe that it's going to come, or that, putting in this work is going to pay off or whatever. And then you want to think about, well, why am I in scarcity, and why do I have time urgency? Or, the things that you're speaking online, it's like, why don't you believe the things that you're saying? Or, why don't you believe that you're helpful? Like all of these things, which again, all of these little things root back to childhood. What I will say is, To Be Magnetic, they have a lot of workshops to work on this, your subconscious beliefs, the things that you hold from the past that affect the way that you show up in your world. So that can definitely help. But to bring it back, manifesting, it does require action. But then what people think is, okay, then it's not manifesting. It's just working hard. No. Because what ends up happening when you take aligned action, first of all, it doesn't even feel hard or like there's a lot of resistance, because you're going for exactly what you want. I wanted to talk about the things that I wanted to talk about on YouTube. So was it really hard for me to sit down and film and do exactly what I wanted to do in my life? No. Was it hard to get up and go serve at a restaurant? Yes. You want to know why? Because that wasn't aligned for me. But I did that knowing eventually I wouldn't have to do that anymore. So that's why it felt less hard to do the job. But it's a good indicator when you feel so much resistance, is like, am I supposed to be even doing this thing? But it doesn't also mean that you just stop serving. Like, I was being realistic as well and realized, okay, well, I have a goal and I believe I'm going to get there. So until I start seeing the manifestation, like the money, the whatever I need for me to leave my job, I will continue to work here, knowing that it's not going to be forever. And that allows me to have a good mindset, a day to day, like not being miserable and waiting for the thing to happen, because in my mind, I already believe it's done. Like, I actually already believed it was done. There's definitely times where, of course, it was hard to wake up every day and be like, oh my gosh, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? But you want to get out of the mindset of being like, when it's going to happen, and start being in the mindset of, it's going to happen. So if it's going to happen, then what does your day look like? It doesn't look like sitting around and being mad that you have to go to a serving job. You wouldn't be mad knowing for sure that your YouTube career is going to be coming at the end of the year. You'd be like, okay, cool. This is my last year at work. Like, let's do it. Let's grind it out until we don't got to do that anymore. That was me. That was the energy that I came with. And bet your ass the last year of me serving, I made the most amount of money because I had no resistance. I was like, I'm not going to be here for a long time. Like, it is what it is. Let me just be happy. Let me just see how much money I can make. I wasn't in scarcity. I made so much more money. It was insane. But honestly, it comes back to creating a day. And Dylan James says this a lot on his YouTube. He's really good he talks to people more about relationships, but he's in this type of world too. I love him. He's the best. He talks about, setting up your day in a way that feels good to you, a way that the highest version of you would be living. And this is not to ignore your current reality, but it's like, first of all, fixing your beliefs. You have to really go in there and reprogram. And like I said, To Be Magnetic has a lot of good resources for that. But then also it's like there is that action piece of manifesting. Like you need to take the damn action. I need to post the video for me to hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. But then people think, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard. It's not going to be hard if you're going for exactly what you want. It's not going to feel hard if it feels good. So, and I always remind myself that even now to this day, I am very, very aware of when I feel resistance and when I don't. And, even for the podcast, it feels very, very good for me and very aligned. And I want to do the podcast. I want to do it. This is what I want to do as a part of my career. Okay. And, there's obviously limiting beliefs that come up around that. It's like, you're a content creator and like, do people really care what you have to say and whatever? Old beliefs, don't want to hear it, don't care. Why? Because I know what I'm saying is valuable. And I know you guys are listening on this episode right now, resonating, wanting to listen to it. It's helping you in some way, shape, or form. And that's what keeps me going. I have belief that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And when you are in an alignment with what you should be doing in this moment in your life, everything falls into place. And that's when you start becoming a magnet as well to money, or even relationships. When you stop settling and stop saying yes to the things you don't want to say yes to, and you say, no, I want this amount of money. I want this career. I want this relationship, and everything else that the universe is going to give me and throw at my way as a test, I'm going to say, amazing, cool, that's not going to affect me. Maybe I'll have to deal with it for a little bit. Maybe I'll have to deal with the fact that I have to go serving, and have a serving job. That's fine. But guess what? That's not going to be my story. I'm not going to let that affect me. I'm not going to let that make me miserable to the point where I don't wake up in the morning early to go work on my social media because that's what I want. I'm not going to do that. Watch the way your life changes when you go for exactly what you want. This is not the life for you to just not go for what you want. And again, when we're talking about manifesting, a lot of people don't like manifesting or what people have to say about it because they're like, you need to get up and work. Like you need to live in the real world. Yeah, you do. But the way that you do it is the way I did it. I wanted something in my life and I made sure that I spent as much time as I could working on that thing as I was making money. And before even serving, I was working at a tech company doing health and wellness. I didn't like doing that. I wasn't even making enough money to they weren't even paying me enough. So I realized, you know what? I'm going to go for exactly what I want, which is social media, but I still need to make money. And also, this job is literally not making me any money, and it's stressing me the F out, and I still need to be a server. So what I'm going to do is work smarter, not harder. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave that job because I know I wasn't going to be moving forward in that job anyways. If it was a different story, I probably would have stayed and worked my way up that way, but I didn't. So I said, okay, well, I make 3 times more an hour at doing serving. Let me put all of my attention and time into serving, as much time as I could, make way more money in less time, and the time that I have back, put it towards my YouTube. And that is what I did. But I was afraid at first, right? Because there's all this programming around, no, you have this salary job and you should stay here. Or, even when it was serving job, even though a lot of people will look at that and be like, that's not stable, blah, blah, blah. People would say, oh, well, that's more stable than doing social media, da, da. No, I don't have those beliefs. I worked through a lot of them. I deconstructed a lot of them. And the power of believing in yourself and the power of deciding that you are no longer going to listen to these limiting old ass beliefs, watch the way your life changes. And honestly, what do you have to lose at this point when you already are living in like negative limiting beliefs anyways, and you have self-doubt and you hate your life anyways? You might as well just go for what you want and see what happens. Trust me, the consequences of not going for what you want, they're scary, and they'll be more scary as you get older. Okay, last question. We're very long into the episode. Oh my gosh. The way I always say it, the way that I can talk for hours. My friends tell me that. My mom tells me that. I tell myself that. I will go on for days and talk. And this is what, you know what? We're going to go there. We're going to keep talking. But this is the thing that I realize. I'm good at speaking. I could get better at it for sure. And we're going to get there. Don't worry. But I like speaking. Okay. I like talking about topics that I like to talk about. I like giving advice. I like speaking on different topics, whatever it is. I realized that I like doing that, and that's a gift of mine. And so realizing that, I said, let's make it a career. Let's do that. Why not? Why can't I do that? Well, society tells me I can't do that. No, I've seen a million people on social media and podcasts do that, so why can't I do the same? And that's what I have done as well, right? So it's like, go for what you want and go for what you're really good at. Like, what feels good to you? And this is the thing. Society tells you, no, you can't just... You love to, let's say you really love outfits, fashion. So what, you just want to be a content creator and just show your outfits every day? Like, go get a real job. Sorry, this is a real job and I want to do this. And the more that you're in alignment with exactly what you want to do, you will see, again, this deservingness piece comes into it. You'll see that you're connecting with people and you're contributing in such a way that actually is very expansive to the universe. Now, people are going to look at you and say, you have no value. You giving advice on your podcast doesn't do any. Go get a real job. Or you on TikTok showing your outfits, go get a real job. But guess what? You're gonna find that you're gonna have an audience of people who really love you. They're gonna come to you for outfit inspo. They're gonna come to you for just entertainment, anything. I see people, okay? I see influencers who I personally believe that they don't give the same level of value of content that I do, but I also realize that, first of all, we're not on the same journey, and nor should they be giving exactly what I'm giving. They're meant to be doing what they're doing. That girl trends, or the aesthetically pleasing girlies, or the ones who make like motivational videos and stuff where some people criticize them and say, I just don't really see like what they're really doing and how that could be contributing and You might not see that, right? Because you might not take value from that because you have certain needs and wants. And I have the same thing. I look at that and be like, that doesn't really resonate with me. I don't get anything out of that. But the truth is, there are people in certain phases of their life where they're going to get something out of that girl. They just are. Motivation, not. I don't know. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying that that's how I look at things, and that's how I rationalize how I create content or do anything in life, is like, you are a part of the expansion and the universal connection, and whatever you want to call it, in some way, shape, or form. And even if you think that you are not contributing or worthy of things, then it's all old limiting beliefs to begin with. And the more you step into your deservingness and you're willing to be seen and you go for what you want, you can do anything. You can do anything. And if you still don't believe me, continue to watch this podcast channel blow up. I'm telling you, it's going to. The same way that my YouTube channel did. And again, this is not like, see how many numbers I get or how much money I make. It's not that. It's just watch how somebody who backs themselves and loves what they're doing continues to expand, and see that impact. And then you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, she knows what she's talking about. And I see it all the time too. Like, it's not just me just pulling that out of my ass. I've watched people who do that all the time. So I'm like, I'm doing it too. Okay, now the last question. Someone asked how to practice detachment and surround yourself with people who are on the same level as you. I find my friends/family struggling, and I feel like I always need to give them advice or solve their problems. And then I put a note here in brackets. I said, which I'm assuming she realizes it doesn't work, and that's why she wants to learn detachment, because she's talking about detachment here. And I have totally been through this phase of, first, welcome to being awakened and being self-aware and realizing that a lot of people around you are not. And once I went through that, I automatically, naturally was like, oh my gosh, no, my friends and family, read this book. Oh my gosh, I can see why you keep going back to toxic men. You have a childhood wound and your attachment style is anxious. And all you need to do is read this book and go to therapy, and then you're gonna be amazing. Yeah, see, logically that would work and that makes sense. But the truth is, it is not your problem to solve other people's unhealed traumas, unhealed wounds, unhealed whatever they got going on. It's not. It's not because you are not on the same timeline as people. We are all on different lanes, timelines, whatever you want to call it. And it is actually in their blueprint in a way for them to go through that thing. Now, this is not to mean to say that when you see somebody, you just like sit back and watch them blow up, right? Because you can definitely lovingly be like, oh my gosh, like I have this book or I have this thing, like I would love for you to read it, whatever. And they might take it and that might really change their life. But you have to be in a way of suggesting and not telling when it comes to wanting to help people. Because the truth is, especially when it comes to family and friends, it's really hard for you not to see their problems when you've been working on yours and you're kind of awakening and all this, but also for you not to want to help. And I think there is going to be a level of learning how to detach by reminding yourself that people are on their own journeys and you don't have control over other people. You just have control over yourself. And it's quite frankly not necessarily always your problem or your choice to be the one that gets to decide when in which they heal or when in which they change. And knowing that also, you don't have to completely detach from these people and think that they're not valuable and not people to be in your life anymore. Now that your dynamics might change a little bit, realizing that these friends that you have, let's say, are not on the same journey as you, but you need to realize that you might just have to have some boundaries when it comes to being around these people, because these people might be, negatively impacting the way that you perceive yourself or what you're doing in your life or you're spending your time doing, and you no longer want to be doing these things. And it's as simple as expressing where you're at in your own life. Let's say your friends want to party and you don't really want to do that anymore. Just say, I'm really just on this journey right now of getting to know myself better and taking care of my health, and I'm working on this project or I'm working on this thing for my career right now, and I'm working on sleep, and I want to stay in more. If you guys want to do like a day thing, I'd be down to do that, but I'm just like, I'm no longer that much, like I'm not really that available to do these night things. But you don't have to go to extreme and be like, oh God, I need to cut you guys all off because you're not on the same level as me, or be so dramatic and be like, I can never go out again. It's not that. It's just, you can learn how to have a normal, balanced response to people when they're wanting to do something that you no longer want to do anymore. Just don't be afraid of that. Like, you're allowed to say what you want. And I think that people who really love you and want to be friends with you, they'll respect that. And if they don't, then it's like, are they really that good of friends? And if they're family, I get that they're family, but still it's like, okay, well, you're in this mindset right now that you can't even experience me changing and be okay with me changing. I must be a very big mirror to you, because that's truly what it is. If people can't accept you and they don't want to see you doing well, it's because really what you're doing is you're holding up a mirror to them, and they're realizing just how much they are not you. And then, sorry, maybe you have to distance yourself a little bit. But another thing, when it comes to trying to help friends and family, because like I said, they might actually really utilize a book that you're reading or, some suggestion that you have, but maybe the way that you're saying it might come across as a little bit, you need to do this. And oh my gosh, I see this is an issue with you. You need to do it now. People do things on their own time. Okay. And so I think the best thing, and I think about this with men too, it's so funny, and we could go into a whole podcast about this, but you want to really inspire people and influence them in a very subtle way. So when people see that you're on your grind, you're posting on social media, you're going to the gym, you're taking care of yourself, you're eating well, you're reading, let's say in your immediate household, you're taking care, you're just trying this new skincare that is really amazing. You're reading books, you're not staying up really late, you're going to bed at a decent time and you're reading your book, whatever. People start to catch on, okay? People know. People can see when you are doing well. People can see that. And so you don't need to, when you are starting to read your book at 10 p.m. instead of watching TV with the family and, eating crappy food or, telling your friends you have to try the skincare, all you need to do is do the thing. And on top of that, let's say you're trying to influence someone to read a new book or use a skincare routine, especially for men when it comes to skincare. You don't even need to say, oh my gosh, you need to try this or you need to read this, especially when we're talking about like healing stuff, like very stuff that people are already running away from. All you need to do is just, when somebody asks you about what you're doing or even what you're reading or just, what you've been up to in life, you could just talk about how you're reading this one book and how revolutionary it's been for you and what you've been realizing about yourself with that. And that's it though. You don't go further and say, yeah, I think this book would really help your issue. Yeah, mom, that issue that you have and like, especially when they're not open to that and whatever, people will start to be like, oh, okay, I don't want to hear anything about this anymore. Versus you just speaking highly of something or, wow, this skincare like really just changed my skin, especially with men, because a lot of men won't use skincare, right? And then you go into the washroom and then you just like rave about this skincare and you leave it on the counter. You don't tell them, oh my God, you need to use this, babe, you need to use it, and then like watch them go into the washroom and be like, so that gua sha that you use, like, could you teach me how? Like, I swear, the power of just being so subtle and just being a small little influence is truly amazing. So I don't know, people pick up on that. I feel like we're all like children in a way, and we watch and we listen and, and again, when people see how amazing you're doing, eventually they'll start asking questions. And if they don't, then they're not ready. And if they're not ready, then what's the point in you trying to spend your time trying to fix that anyways when they're not going to be ready? Like, if they're not going to be ready on their own, they're definitely not going to be ready when you come and bombard them and say, here's a book and you need to heal. Like, absolutely not. Trust me, I've done that. I've had to deal with a lot of people in my life that I wanted to so badly help and I couldn't. And only now is my influence starting to influence them, So hopefully that helped. I've totally been there. And I think that everyone gets to a point when you start up-leveling your life, you start to realize that there's people around you who are not where you're at. And then you want to either help them or you want to distance yourself and you're like, no, like everyone's not like me. But I think you have to have a very healthy balance and realize that people are on their own journeys, on their own level. Yes, you'll probably need to learn how to have more boundaries and communicate, but you don't need to fully exile people from your life. And you don't also need to tell people they need to change exactly when you do, because that's just not how life works. So I hope that helped. That was it. Wow, that was a rant. I'm looking at the time and it is a long time on this pod. But you guys, if you're still here, then thank you for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Please let me know by screenshotting if you are listening on audio and tagging me on Instagram, Alicia Gogan. ELICIAGOGUEN, if you're interested in how to spell my name, because my name is kind of hard to spell. But also, of course, if you're listening and watching on YouTube, then just comment down below and let me know what you like. And also let me know what you guys are wanting to hear from me next. I'm pretty sure that I have a community tab now that I hit 1,000 subscribers on the podcast channel. I actually don't know, but I know that it wasn't available before, in which I will definitely do more polls and stuff for the next episodes. And yeah, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And that's it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye.